Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Tuesday, May 30th, 2023. My name's Jeremy. This is my first cup. What's going on out there in TV land? How are you? How was your weekend? Working with you in almost 4 days, and that's crazy to me. What's going on? Who's here? Good morning, Frank, Andy, Mark, and the rest of you out there. No matter when or how you are watching or listening to me, I appreciate you coming by. Here in the U.S., we had a holiday weekend. Did not do a show yesterday. I woke up at 8 o'clock. It was amazing. And did some work around the house. In fact, that was kind of a recurring theme over the weekend. Didn't do a whole lot, if you want to think of it in that way. Did some work around the house. Had a friend visit for, how long was Caleb here? A little over a day and a half. Went out to eat, had a couple drinks, watched some TV, watched a ridiculous movie that I think some of you might appreciate on Hulu, Violent Night. It was reminiscent of something like Evil Dead 2, that kind of campy, ridiculous humor, but it was great. And if you enjoy those sorts of movies, I think you'll really like this one. Not much in the way of great fight scenes, but there was some interesting stuff in there that we could approach from a martial arts perspective. I would love to know what you all did this weekend, so feel free to drop that in the chat. Tell me what you did Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday. Hopefully you had some enjoyable things in there, maybe a good balance, maybe some training, maybe some getting outside. I stained the deck, burned down a bunch of brush. Oh, it was good. It was a good weekend. And now, here we are. More work. We're back. It's Tuesday. We're back to the grind. So, you're all being very quiet, by the way. What else can I tell you? I feel like there was more to say. I don't know if there is. I got a lot to do today. There's a lot I will do today. I had planned on doing some work yesterday, and I took a look at what I actually had to do and said, no, I'm truly taking the day off from work. I need this. And I did. Plenty of things to be done, prepping for the school and keeping other things going. Oh, yesterday we dropped our episode with Sensei Gage Hanlon, who some of you may know as the kind of the face, not the owner, but the marketing director, I believe is his title, for Kataro, the company that makes the absolute best belts. They make wonderful belts. And I had a chance to talk to Gage, and we dropped that episode yesterday. It came out really good. Oh, pardon me. Stacy worked the marathon, bought some plants, and planted some plants. Nice. My plants are hardening off on the porch because it is going to be hot all week, and looks like those plants are going to stay in their pots until Friday morning. That is the time that seems to make the most sense for me to plant. So, yeah, fortunately, that's not that long away, just 3 more days, because they are stretching their pots. Ray had a birthday party for one of Zyler's friends, child, on Saturday at the lake, parade Sunday, hanging out at home, lots of cooking. Sounds great. Good morning to you. I cooked some turkey burgers on the grill yesterday. Cooked some chicken drumsticks on Saturday. Those were really good. Marinated those, and yeah, it's a good time. Lots of food this weekend. Good morning, Tommy. What am I looking forward to today? It's where I default. If I'm out of things to say, I try to think of what are the things that I'm looking forward to I can share with you. Much of the meetings that weren't canceled from yesterday have been moved to today. I've got, I think, 2 meetings because a number of them were canceled. And that worked out perfectly. And so I'll head into the office. Supposedly, I take ownership of my new office on Wednesday. We'll see if that happens because the fancy buttonless doorknob that needed to be installed was still not installed on Thursday. Hopefully, I am not stuck with nowhere to office. But I'll go in, and I've got a box that somebody put in an order, I think on Thursday. I've got to pack and ship. So I'll do that. And there's a lot of stuff to be done. So it's going to be a busy day. Good day, busy day. Stacy says, yeah, 90 degrees predicted later this week. Water your babies. Exactly. My plan this week is to get the beds hydrated, make sure everything's good to go with them, and then start planting. There's a lot to be done with those garden beds. I still have stuff from last year and some of them to be dug through. Frank says he tried to go to the War Memorial yesterday, but it was gone. Apparently it is being redone. Good morning, Jenny. Tonight, got a friend from the improv class. I've actually made some pretty good friends with these improv folks. They're a good group. Hung out with some of them over the weekend as well. But one of them she's playing an open mic night and has asked for support. So a number of us will go and cheer her on. It's a good thing. Yeah. Saw the deer a few times over the weekend. And what else did I see? Animal-wise. Pet a number of dogs. That was pretty great. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm rambling. And you know my rule. I don't just ramble. There's no specific length of time that I need to hit my opening monologue, if that's what you want to call it. So we are going to switch to some quotes and see where those take us. Oh, I like where we're going already. Thank you. Thank you to Frank for all the work you do on the show, including the jokes and the quotes. Oh, pardon me. Thank you to Josh for our theme song, and thank you to Denise for the audio feed. Reading more comments. Jenny had a lot of time with her kids, all 4 of them, not just 1 or 2. Lots of laughter and good food. Oh, that's great. Glad to hear that. And here we go. The biggest risk a person can take is to do nothing. Robert Kiyosaki. I was having a conversation with somebody about this over the weekend. The idea that being uncomfortable, as we've talked about on the show quite a bit, that being uncomfortable really seems to be a precursor to everything. That if you're comfortable, what are you doing? You're doing the same old, right? And again, in case you've missed those conversations, I'm not saying that you should never be comfortable. I'm not saying you should always be uncomfortable, but progress comes from discomfort. And how do most people describe comfort? I didn't do anything. Well, what specifically did you do? Oh, I sat on the couch. I sat. I relaxed. I took a nap. I love naps. I love sitting on the couch. I love doing nothing, but in very short stints. The biggest risk a person can take is to do nothing. You know, one of the things that I've gotten better at for myself, and I talk to my clients about this. Okay, so if you do this thing that is big and scary and you're feeling really resistant to do it, What's the worst possible outcome? Oftentimes, the worst possible outcome is virtually the same as not taking the action. Well, let's say you show up at that martial arts class at that school that you've never been to, but you've heard great things and you're really nervous about going. What happens if you get there and the class doesn't go well? It's the worst possible outcome. Well, you don't go back. Okay. That's not that different than never having gone in the first place. In fact, I would say never going back is a better outcome because now you know that it's not what you want. You can try somewhere else. See, I think we were conditioned so strongly as kids to be embarrassed that we see embarrassment as the worst thing in the world. Why are people afraid of public speaking? Because if they do it poorly, they'll be embarrassed. There was something about the way we were raised, something about the way school did this to us, that we see embarrassment as this penalty worse than death. It's not. It's okay to be embarrassed. It's okay to get it wrong. Because here's the secret. Regardless of what social media tells us, there are still a huge number of people jealous that you had the stones to try. Something to keep in mind. Next. Never say you cannot afford something. That is a poor man's attitude. Ask how to afford it. I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you don't know, Robert Kiyosaki is the one who wrote that book, famous book. And this, to me, is the heart of the book. And I tell myself, I can have anything I want. I can't have everything I want, but I can have anything. If I wanted a bigger house, I could have a bigger house. I don't want to spend the money on a bigger house at this time. If I wanted, maybe not any car, but I could find a way. If it was really important to me to, I don't know, have a Ferrari, I could find a way to have a Ferrari. Might be an older Ferrari. Might have to learn how to work on it. Might have to get a part-time job, work bartending over the weekend or something. I could do it, but I don't do it because it's not important to me. And I think that this is such a fundamental shift when you can wrap your head around it, because it doesn't just apply to money. Don't say you can't, ask how. I'll never be a black belt. How can you become a black belt? Well, first you got to train. I'll never learn that form. How can I learn that form? Well, I've got to practice and I've got to get some help and could probably film somebody doing it and I could watch it on my phone or on TV. Yeah, right. And this applies to anything. Don't simply dismiss whatever is in front of you, the possibility that is in front of you. Don't dismiss the dream or the idea. If you want something, figure out how to get it. If you're not willing to figure out how to get it, you don't deserve it. Because that's an intermediate step. You have to want it bad enough that you figure out how to do it. And if the only way you can see is that there is no way, well, then you're right. One of the things I come back to, and I'm not going to share the numbers, not that either before or after is huge, but when I came back from the Tony Robbins event in Florida, where my consulting was, especially considering that my biggest client, who was almost half of my income, cut back a huge amount early in the year, I'm still double my monthly revenue that I was then, which took me from losing a bunch of money every month to barely losing any money, almost not losing money. And I'll get there. We're almost there. And so how did that happen? Well, first I knew it was possible. I knew I had time in my schedule. I knew I had more to give. I knew that if I kept asking clients to make referrals, I knew it would all work. And it did. And it is. And I have one more prospective client on the books and maybe another coming along. We'll see. I keep telling people I'm full, and I am in a sense. But that, to me, that just means I'm not going to make a big deal of advertising it anymore. If somebody wants to come on, if somebody needs my help, I'll make room. There's always more room. Stacy's having connection issues, and my computer's running sluggish today. I can see that as well. There's an update that wants to install. And what's our last one here today? It's going to be a short show, and that's all right. In school, we learn that mistakes are bad, and we are punished for making them. Yet if you look at the way humans are designed to learn, we learn by making mistakes. We learn to walk by falling down. If we never fell down, we would never walk. I talk about this when I teach. This idea that we are discouraged from making mistakes just blows my mind. And it goes hand in hand with the embarrassment thing. School rewarded us for getting things right the first time. That's not the way the world works. You rarely get things right the first time outside of academics. So what do? Well, you try and you fail, or screw up, mess up, make an error, and then you try again and you do better. That's literally how everything else works. I blame the traditional academic environment for a lot of things. One of those things is this: the fact that people have been conditioned against trying. What would a school where people were encouraged to try new things and were supported in the effort, despite getting it wrong much of the time in the beginning? Oh, that would probably be a martial arts school. We have an opportunity within our training to give people these anchors that they can bring into the rest of the world. And when we do that, we change life for them. And by extension, we change life for everyone around them. And we change life for some of the people that come after them. It's okay to make an error. If you make an error, it means you're trying. It means you're willing to be uncomfortable and do something that is bigger or different or more than you've done before. And that should be celebrated. Celebrate the efforts. Celebrate the wins. Celebrate the errors, because you know that you don't have to do it that way again. You found a way not to do it. The history of Whistlekick is a whole bunch of things that I'm not going to do again. Lots of things that either did not work or were ahead of their time. Great. So we keep going. And we will keep going, because I will keep going, because I don't stop. Because there's always a way. Don't ask, how do I make this? Don't ask, is this company successful? Ask, how can I make this company successful? Well, you keep trying. You keep throwing different stuff against the wall and you see what sticks. Good morning, Nathan. Tommy says the word problem comes from the Greek word to work through. Oh, interesting. I hope you have a great day. I hope if you haven't, you'll go check out episode 818 of Martial Arts Radio, the episode we dropped yesterday with Gage Hanlon. Some big things following on the heels of that. You'll come to see you soon. I hope no matter what you do today, whether it's training or not training, maybe you pick up one of our programs for some supplemental stuff at home. whatever it is, I hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoy your time. Hope you do something for yourself. I hope you do something that makes you uncomfortable, because life is about learning through that discomfort. I appreciate you coming by, and I'll see you more. Take care, everybody.